Hi, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I am here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments so that I may answer your questions. So tonight I am going to be talking about the work permit. So I know that's a topic of interest and I want to touch on that. So I get the question, especially from those who are outside of the United States, about whether you can come here on a B1 or B2 visa and get a work permit. And I want to explain why it doesn't work that way and how you could actually qualify for a work permit in the United States. So now a work permit is, now before I get started, I want to let you know that I am here to answer your U.S. immigration related questions. That is my priority. Hi there, Tamara. So you can go ahead and put your questions in the comments and I will answer your questions. I am talking about this topic, but your questions don't have to be specifically related to the topic that I'm talking about. Can I sponsor mom to come to the USA after she signs for my stepmom to bring me over here? So yes, so you can sponsor your parent as long as you have not been adopted, so legally adopted, then you would be able to turn around and apply for your biological parent. So keep your questions coming. These are the types of questions that I'm here to answer. Now let's talk about the work permit. The work permit here. Now another thing I want you to keep in mind is that I am not giving you personal legal advice. So do not act on the information that I'm giving you. It's just to help provide you with knowledge and some sort of direction as to what you need to do next, whether you need to seek legal advice. I'm not your attorney. And so in order to get accurate legal advice, you should always schedule a consultation. So I'm on process with my wife. I got approved and I can't get the work permit. So with the work permit, it's only for individuals who are going through adjustment of status. The adjustment of status process, if you are in another country or if you have just filed the I-130 and it is the I-130 petition that has been approved, you wouldn't get a work permit. In addition to that, you would have had to apply for the work permit along with your adjustment of status application. Now keep in mind, that's exactly what I was going to explain, is that the work permit is, not everyone is going to qualify for a work permit. Not because not everyone who is applying for a permanent residence is going to qualify for the work permit. Usually it's a case where you are applying for a type of immigration benefit or a form of relief that's going to allow you to get a work permit while you apply. And so the adjustment of status application, that's a process of applying for the green card while you're in the United States. And to complete your green card process here, that does allow you to apply for the work permit at the same time. So can cousin get his cousin in the USA to take care of her sick aunt? So no, a cousin, there's no process where a cousin can sponsor a cousin. However, there may be something called humanitarian parole, just depending on the situation. A person who doesn't have a visa or who's unable to get a visa can possibly get humanitarian parole, but it's really discretionary and it's based on all the facts involved for the officer to determine whether this is a case of such severity. It's an urgent situation with pressing matters involved that would require someone to get humanitarian parole to take care of a sick relative. So is there any agreement for my mom to bring me other than adoption? So Christine, not sure what you're referring to in regards to your mom. You would have to schedule a consultation because you're getting a little more in detail. And so I want to make sure that you get accurate legal advice. Now, for those of you who are listening and you're going to need legal advice, personal legal advice, definitely go ahead and schedule a consultation. The phone number is 561-405-4889. You can also see the number on my videos or go to the link in my bio. It's going to take you to the website, and there are different ways to get in touch with the firm to schedule. So Christine X. So I was very young, so I don't really know what transpired. It sounds like there's some additional facts that we would have to sift through, Christine. So schedule a consultation for sure. So how long after the I-140 approval do you get email from the NVC? So you could expect about 4 to 6 weeks for it to be moved to the National Visa Center and until they contact you. How long I-130 approval for spouse take to come back? So you could be looking at a little over a year, 9 months to a little over a year. Will they ask questions about car loan on the interview? So CAMS 356. Right now they're not going to ask about a car loan unless there's an issue or somehow related to your eligibility for permanent residence. Now, if you are there was an old rule during the Trump administration, and it was called the new public charge rule. And in that one, they did look at your loans, your credit history, and so forth, your financial background. However, that has been thrown out of the door. And so if you're referring to that, you should not be expecting a question about car loan unless you and your spouse share a car loan, and that has something to do with if this is a marriage-based permanent residence. And if that's the case, then they're going to be maybe asking questions about your relationship. But other than that, the car loan isn't something that's automatically expected to come up in an interview. If I come up on an H-2B visa and have a filing in, could I stay long until the filing is completed? If you cannot maintain your H-2B visa status, then it's unlikely that you would be able to stay. Usually, to stay and continue to apply for permanent residence, you'd have to qualify for adjustment of status. And in this case, if you fall out of status, you wouldn't qualify for adjustment of status. Now, if you are being filed for, if you are the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, that means you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you're the parent of a U.S. citizen, or a parent of a U.S. citizen who's 21 and up, or you're the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. In a case like that, you would be able to possibly qualify for adjustment of status, even if you've fallen out of status. So Unique Renee, schedule a consultation. We can dig deep into what your particular circumstances are and then determine whether you can stay. CAMS 356, you're welcome and thanks so much for the rules. Can a case for I-130 be requested to be sent to another center? So not necessarily. That's usually an internal process. How long does the NVC take to respond to expedite requests? So you could expect about 2 to 3 weeks to get a response on that request. Do you take care of taxes? So no, I don't file taxes. That would be a tax filer or a tax filing entity or a CPA. However, I do deal with tax planning. So if you are looking at tax planning, how to be compliant with the tax laws in regards to being an immigrant, if you're moving to the United States or you want to make sure that you are you save on your assets if you're just coming into the United States, or preferably before you become a permanent resident, that would be me. But otherwise, I don't do tax filing. I have an interview next weekend, so good luck, CAMS 356. All the best. Make sure you prepare well for it. We have been waiting for I-130 approval since November 2020. So yes, Honey Bun Sunshine 876, it can be possibly a year or more right now for the I-130 approval, unfortunately. So, one thing I do want to let you know is that I am also going to be on Instagram. So I'm still here, still taking your questions, but at 9:30, I will be hopping on to Instagram Live where I have a pre-scheduled live show, and our conversation doesn't have to end here. You can hop on over to Instagram as well. And I release much more content on Instagram, so you can check it out. It's The Immigration Attorney on Instagram. So as soon as I'm ready to hop on over, if you want to continue to ask your questions or listen to what I have to say, you can definitely move on over there. Now, while more questions come in, so my husband submitted the application November 2020. So yes, so I-130, you could be expecting a little over a year for an approval on that. Now, I want you to know, let's talk. I'm going to be talking about the work permit until I get more questions in. So with the work permit, let's see. So Shan, how likely is NVC to approve an expedite request for a healthcare professional? So expedite requests are done on a case-by-case basis. So it is really a matter of what's going on in your particular circumstances. There really is no way to measure your likelihood just because they look at it case by case to determine whether your case warrants to be expedited. Keep in mind that to get an expedite request approved, usually you have to show, so in this case, you're a healthcare professional. If there is a loss, some sort of financial loss to the company that's hiring you or to an individual, that could be a basis. Also, if there's an urgent humanitarian need. And then also if there was an error that the USCIS was caused by the USCIS, that they need to rectify. Those are the three bases that they will consider in regards to an expedite request. What is the factor that can affect an I-130 approval? So it depends on what you're basing your I-130 petition on. If it's on marriage, they're going to look at the bona fide, the evidence that shows that the marriage is real. If it's based on another type of family relationship, they're going to be looking at whether the evidence that you submitted really shows that you do indeed qualify through a relationship with that relative. So with the work permit, work permits are not issued by themselves, but you have to apply for the work permit along with some sort of immigration benefit or form of relief. For example, when you're applying for the green card in the United States through adjustment of status, you may qualify for adjustment of status. If you are outside of the United States applying, you wouldn't qualify for a work permit in this case. You usually have to be in the United States to be able to qualify for a work permit. Now, B2 visa, keep in mind that if you're coming here on a B2 visa, that's not going to qualify you for a work permit because that one, you're not allowed to work in the first place. So in 2004, stepdad was filed for and was to take his son with him to the embassy, but never did. So KK, it's nice to see you. Can that son still join with some sort of waiver? So unfortunately, if they were left off of the application and then the process has already gone by, then it may be too late. But the best thing to do, KK, because remember, this is not personal legal advice. This is general information based off of very general information that I'm getting from you. So if you would like to figure out if there's a way for this son to still go ahead and come get permanent residence through his father, you should have, they should schedule a consultation so we can talk more. Good evening, my work permit is approved, but I didn't receive the card yet. Can I work? So usually you need to get that card first, and the employer usually wants to see it. You can speak with your employer and show them the approval notice. However, they usually want to see the card to be able to say for sure that you have permission to work. Can you get a work permit if someone sponsor you through their business? No. So a work permit, if they are sponsoring you through your business, their business, then this is an employment base. And so in order to ultimately get the employment based visa, you're going to need to qualify for the visa and go through the visa process first. KK, you're welcome. So user 188, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So great questions so far, and all of them have been so relevant to the topic that I have been talking about, which is getting the work permit. So now here are some of the processes where you can get a work permit. So getting a work permit while you are going through adjustment of status, yes. Getting it through VAWA. So VAWA is if you're being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse. A parent if you're under 25 and unmarried, or by if you're being mistreated by a son or a daughter who's 21 and up. While you're applying, if you get approved, or even if you've submitted the adjustment of status application along with the VAWA application, then it would allow you to get a work permit as well. Do they look at your spouse's finances with the I-130? So no, that is not the first thing they're going to be looking at. However, keep in mind that they can check those documents or your spouse's background to see if there's anything in their background that indicates that this is a bona fide marriage. So I have seen them do a detailed background check that brings up all sorts of things. So on the credit history, if they've co-owned property with someone else and not their spouse, that may be indicative that the marriage is not bona fide. And so you do have to make sure that if there's anything on public record or any finances that is going to affect the evidence, the bona fide evidence, you have to be aware of that. If someone is waiting on a decision by the USCIS, while adjusting status, can they travel domestic? So yes, you are able to travel domestically. You just have to make sure that you have the identification necessary to go through that process. So Tamara, if someone is sponsoring you to work for their business, that's going to be an employment-based visa, and you would have to go through a different process, not the work permit process, to be able to get that employment-based visa. But Tamara, I don't know if this is something that is a possibility in your case. You can always schedule a consultation, because I don't have the full picture of what's going on, and so the information I'm giving you is also limited and it's very general. So always schedule a consultation if you would like to talk in more depth about how this work. A business can't just apply for a work permit. They have to sponsor you through either a employment-based visa or employment-based green card process. So Guyanese TikTokers, that would be a question that you'd have to ask in the consultation for sure. Now, if you have to call the airline. Usually to travel domestically, you'll have to have a valid government issued ID. But you need to check with the airport and check with the airline to make sure that you meet all their requirements for identification. So great questions. So I am going to head on over to Instagram. If you can't join me on Instagram right now, you can always join me. Hi there. It's nice to see you over there in Ghana. Thanks for joining in. Now, I am on Instagram at The Immigration Attorney. I am not posting as often on this platform as I am posting more on Instagram. So if you would like to continue to get updated videos about information that could affect you or immigration updates, you can come over to Instagram and follow me there. You can also join me on live right now, where I have a pre-scheduled live over there, and then we can talk about the Instagram name pane is The Immigration Attorney, so exactly the same name as on here on TikTok. It's The Immigration Attorney. So all being well, I will see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern or 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Instagram. I'll see you in a minute. If I don't see you, I'll see you tomorrow, where you can ask more questions, or I can speak with you in a consultation. My number is 24/7, so you can call that number, and even if there's not a scheduling coordinator available, you will get an after-hours receptionist who will take your call, take good care of you, take your information, pass it on to a scheduling coordinator. So thanks so much for your questions. I will see you tomorrow, or I'll see you on Instagram in a minute. Bye-bye.